used to think the right haircut couldn't undo 40 years, and I was wrong. 3 of my clients over 70 walked into the salon convinced their hair had given up on them, and walked out looking like a completely different decade. What I'm about to show you isn't a trend. It's 3 specific cuts that work with an aging face, not against it, and I've watched them change how people carry themselves in a room. I researched the best hair strategies for women over 50 so you get real, tested results, not guesswork. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. I cover this every week. Part 1. Why your hair is working against your face, not with it. Here's something almost nobody explains to you after 70. Your face shape doesn't stay the same as you age, but most women keep cutting their hair like it did. Bone structure softens. Cheeks lose a little lift. The jawline changes its angle. And the haircut you loved at 55 might now be doing the exact opposite of what it used to do. Instead of framing your face, it's dragging it downward. I noticed this with a client named Dorothy. She'd worn the same chin-length blunt cut for almost 20 years. Beautiful cut, when she first got it. But her face had changed shape since then. And that same blunt line was now sitting at the heaviest part of her jaw, drawing every eye straight to the one place she didn't want attention. She wasn't imagining it. The cut was aging her by years, and it had nothing to do with the gray. That's the first surprise. It's rarely the color that ages a woman over 70. It's the shape. The second surprise is this. Length matters far less than most women think. What actually ages you is a hard, straight line sitting exactly where your face has gotten softest. A rigid line next to a softened jaw creates contrast the eye reads instantly as older. It's not about cutting it all off. It's about breaking that one straight line. So here's the fix, and it's simpler than you'd expect. Before your next cut, do this. Look at your face in profile, not straight on. Find the point where your jaw is widest now, not where it used to be. Any haircut you consider should have a soft edge, not a blunt one, within 2 inches of that point. That's it. That single adjustment, softening the line at the new widest point of your jaw, is the difference between a cut that fights your face and one that flatters it. Dorothy didn't cut inches off. She kept nearly the same length. What changed was the texture at the ends. Instead of one clean blunt line, her stylist added soft, irregular layers just at jaw level, breaking that hard edge into movement. The result showed up immediately, and it wasn't subtle. When a straight line breaks into soft movement right at the jaw, the eye stops landing on the heaviest part of the face and starts moving instead, up toward the eyes, across the cheekbones. That's the whole trick. You're not hiding your jaw. You're just giving the eye somewhere better to travel first. Dorothy said something to me afterward that stuck with me. She said people started making eye contact with her again in conversations, instead of glancing down at her chin. That's not vanity talking. That's just what happens when a haircut stops fighting your bone structure. I want you to actually try this test on yourself before you read any further, because it changes how you'll look at the 3 specific cuts I'm about to walk you through. Stand sideways to a mirror. Find your current jaw's widest point. Now picture a hard line sitting right there versus a soft, broken one. You'll feel the difference before I even have to explain it again. This is also why so many women say a haircut didn't work, even though the stylist did a technically perfect job. The cut wasn't wrong. It just wasn't built for the face that's there now, only the face that used to be there. That's the mistake hiding underneath almost every disappointing haircut after 70. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Before we get into the 3 specific cuts, one more thing worth saying plainly. Your hair texture changes too, usually becoming finer, sometimes coarser in totally unexpected places. And that changes which of these 3 cuts will genuinely suit you best. So as I walk through each one, pay attention not just to the shape, but to which texture description sounds like your own hair right now. Not the hair you remember having a decade ago. Here's the first one, and it might surprise you how forgiving it is. Part 2. The soft layered bob that reads 10 years lighter. The first cut is a soft layered bob, but not the kind you're picturing. Most women hear bob and think of something structured and precise, almost architectural. This isn't that. This is deliberately undone, with layers that start just below the cheekbone and get looser as they go. So the ends move instead of sitting still. Here's what surprised even me the first time I really studied why this cut reads younger. Movement itself signals youth to the eye, almost independent of the color or the wrinkles underneath it. Stillness reads as heavy and static. Movement reads as alive. A rigid bob, no matter how sharp the line, sits motionless. This layered version catches light differently with every turn of the head, and that alone changes how recent the whole look feels. I saw this most clearly with a woman named Helen, who came in wearing a very traditional, very stiff bob she'd had cut the same way for over a decade. It wasn't unflattering exactly. It was just frozen. She looked like a photograph of herself from years earlier, styled the same way out of habit rather than because it still worked. The fix here is specific, so pay attention to the actual technique, not just the general idea. Ask for layering that begins at cheekbone height and increases toward the ends, cut with a razor rather than blunt shears, so the finished edge is textured instead of sealed. That razor detail matters more than people realize. A blunt cut edge holds its shape rigidly, while a razored edge naturally separates into soft pieces that move independently. This is what creates the illusion of lighter, thinner-looking hair, even if the density hasn't changed at all. For finer hair, this cut does something else remarkable. Because the layers are cut short enough to lift slightly at the crown, it actually adds the appearance of volume in exactly the place most women over 70 start losing it first. Right at the root, right at the part. You're not adding hair. You're giving the hair that's their permission to stand up slightly instead of lying flat against the scalp. Helen's transformation wasn't dramatic in terms of length. Barely 2 inches came off. But the layering completely changed how the cut behaved. Instead of sitting like a helmet, it moved when she turned her head, framed her cheekbones instead of boxing them in, and softened everything around her jaw the way we talked about in the last part. Here's the result that actually matters, beyond how it looks in a single photo. People started describing Helen as put together rather than just nice, which sounds like a small shift but isn't. A rigid, unchanging hairstyle unconsciously reads to others as someone who hasn't updated anything about themselves in years, fairly or not. A cut with movement reads as current, attended to, cared for. And that perception shift happens in about 2 seconds of someone seeing you, long before they register anything else. One thing to know before you ask for this at your next appointment. This cut needs a light hand with product. Too much mousse or gel weighs the layers back down and cancels out the entire point of the razor work. Ask your stylist for a lightweight texturizing spray instead, applied only to the ends, never at the root. That keeps the crown lift intact while still letting the ends move freely. If your hair has gotten notably finer over the last several years, this is very likely your cut. If it stayed thick or gotten a bit coarser, don't worry. The next one might suit you even better, and it solves a completely different problem. Before her cut, Helen's hair looked untouched in years, and made her seem tired even on days she felt fine. After it, that same tiredness disappeared from how she read to strangers, without her changing anything else about her routine. Now that cut works beautifully on finer hair. But what if your hair has actually held onto its thickness, or even gotten a little unruly with age? There's a completely different cut built exactly for that, and it solves a problem the layered bob can't touch. Part 3. The face framing shag that fixes what thinning can't hide. The second cut is a modern shag, cut specifically to work with thicker or coarser hair rather than fighting it into submission. And here's the fact that surprised me most researching this one. Most women over 70 with thicker hair are cut in styles designed for someone with fine hair, which means the stylist spends the whole appointment trying to thin it down and flatten it, when the better move is to let the thickness do the work instead. I worked with a woman named Carol who had thick, slightly wavy silver hair that her previous stylist kept cutting into a smooth, controlled shape. Lots of thinning shears, lots of product to keep it flat. It fought her natural texture at every step, and it showed. The hair looked strained rather than styled, like it was being held in place rather than actually working with her. The fix is the shag but done correctly for mature hair, which is different from the choppy version you might picture on a younger woman. Here, the layering is concentrated around the face. Long, face-framing pieces that start at the cheekbone and angle down past the jaw, while the back and crown keep more length and body rather than being thinned out. This uses the natural thickness as a feature instead of a problem to be managed. The technical piece worth understanding. Face framing layers cut on a diagonal, rather than straight across, Catch the light along the cheekbones and draw attention upward toward the eyes, which is exactly the direction you want the eye moving as skin softens with age. This is the same principle from part 1, applied differently. Instead of breaking a hard line at the jaw, you're building movement that pulls attention up and away from it. Carol's stylist also did something simple that made an enormous difference. Instead of using thinning shears throughout, which was making her hair look sparse and strained, they used point cutting only at the very ends, preserving the fullness at the root and through the mid-lengths. The result kept all of Carol's natural thickness intact while still giving the cut shape and direction. What changed for Carol wasn't subtle, and it wasn't just about looking younger in a general sense. It was about looking like herself again. Thick, healthy hair that's been fought into submission for years tends to make a woman look tired and overmanaged. The moment that same thickness is allowed to move and frame the face instead of being flattened, the whole impression shifts toward effortless rather than high maintenance. People started telling her the cut looked easy, which was the opposite of true during her styling routine before, but that's exactly the read this cut creates. There's a practical bonus here too, worth mentioning because it matters for daily life. This cut is genuinely lower maintenance than the smooth, controlled version Carol had before. Because it's built around natural texture rather than against it, air drying with a light curl cream produces a finished look in a fraction of the time a blowout used to take. For thick or wavy hair specifically, working with the texture rather than forcing it straight saves real time every single morning. If your hair holds onto volume and body even as it's grayed, and especially if it's got any natural wave left in it, this is very likely the cut built for you. It solves the exact problem the soft layered bob from part 2 can't, because that cut is designed to add the appearance of volume to finer hair, while this one is designed to shape and direct volume that's already there. Carol went from a smooth, effortful style that fought her natural texture into a shag that let that same thickness become the whole point of the cut. And what used to look strained now looks intentional. Now, there's one more cut left, and it solves a problem completely different from either of these. What to do when your hair has thinned significantly at the crown, which neither the bob nor the shag was built to address directly. Part 4. The cropped pixie that rebuilds volume where it's actually been lost. The third cut addresses something the other two genuinely can't fix well. Significant thinning specifically at the crown, which is one of the most common changes in hair after 70, and one of the least talked about. Most advice about volume focuses on the ends or the overall length, but crown thinning is a root-level problem, and it needs a root-level solution. Here's the fact that changes how most women think about this. A longer style, no matter how it's layered, actually works against a thinning crown, because the weight of the length pulls down on the same area that's already lost density, flattening it further under its own weight. The very thing that feels like it's covering thin spots is often making them more visible by weighing everything down. I saw this with a woman named Patricia, who'd been growing her hair out for years specifically to cover a thinning crown, using longer layers pulled forward and over the top. From certain angles it worked. From most others, especially overhead lighting, the thin area was more visible than if she'd had short hair, because the long strands lying flat over it emphasized just how little was underneath. The fix is a cropped pixie, cut specifically with more length left on top than at the sides, styled to be brushed up and slightly forward rather than flat. This sounds counterintuitive, cutting hair shorter to fix a volume problem. But it works because shorter hair has almost no weight to pull it down, which means even fine, thin strands can stand up on their own instead of being crushed flat by the length above them. The specific technique that made the difference for Patricia. Her stylist left about 2 to 3 inches on top, cut at a slight angle, so the shortest pieces were at the front hairline and the length increased slightly toward the crown, then styled it upward using a small amount of volumizing paste worked in at the root only. That root-only application matters. Product through the length of a pixie this short will just weigh down the exact lift you're trying to create. What happened for Patricia genuinely surprised her. And it's the same thing I've seen happen again and again with this cut. The thinning didn't get better, obviously, hair loss doesn't reverse because of a haircut, but it became far less visible, because there was no longer weight pulling it flat and no long strands lying directly over it to expose it under bright light. The crown looked fuller not because there was more hair there, but because the hair that was there had room to stand up. There's an emotional shift here too, worth naming honestly. A lot of women over 70 avoid short cuts because they associate them with giving up on their hair, when it's often the exact opposite. A short, well-cut pixie takes more precision and skill from a stylist than a long style does. And it reads as deliberate and polished rather than resigned. Patricia told me she felt more visible in a good way after the cut, not less, which is the opposite of what she'd feared for years. If you've noticed more scalp showing at the crown under bright lighting, or if longer styles have started looking thin no matter how they're layered, this is very likely the cut that solves it. And it solves it in a way that hairspray and volumizing products alone never fully can, because the problem is weight and gravity, not just the amount of hair. Between these three cuts, the layered bob for finer hair, the face-framing shag for thicker or wavy hair, and the cropped pixie for crown thinning, one of them almost certainly matches exactly what your hair is doing right now, not what it used to do 15 years ago. Patricia went from long hair pulled forward to hide her crown, hair that exposed the thinning more with every step she took, into a short cut with genuine lift at the root, where that same area now reads as full and intentional instead of sparse. You now know something most women never get told directly. It's not your age working against you, it's whether your cut matches the face and hair you actually have today. Whether that's the soft layered bob, the face-framing shag, or the cropped pixie, the right one doesn't just look good in a photo. It changes how people read you the moment they see you. That's not vanity. That's just how it works. So tell me honestly in the comments, which of these three sounds most like your hair right now? The fine bob, the thick shag, or the thinning crown pixie? I read every comment, and I'll try to answer specific questions there. Next week I'm covering the exact questions to ask your stylist, so you walk out with the cut you actually described, not something close to it. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I'll see you in the next one.